Tokyo is down, boys. Japan is down, and we get 89% of the score, which means we can basically do whatever we want with it. So let's confirm. It is July 1942, Japan is down, and we did something amazing with India. In 1937 we had 8 factories and nothing at all. And now we have absolutely amazing stability, amazing war support, huge manpower, and finally a good industry. But more importantly, we got a navy. We got the entire Japanese navy. And with the Japanese navy, we can do anything we want at this point. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. We all know it, Graveyard of Empires had a tough reception. And there is no denying the fact that most pets are quite underwhelming. However, since release the DLC has improved and at least now it's finally stable. So you should definitely not skip on this guide. India can become incredibly powerful and I'm going to show you exactly how. Moreover, I will share with you an amazing template to use in low supply areas, which we will abuse to completely destroy both China and Japan. If that sounds interesting, then this is the right video for you. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments and make sure to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And of course guys, as usual, if you enjoy the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving me a comment. But that's all for the introduction, so let's get started with India. It's time to make India great again. You know the drill. As usual guys, you can find all researches and focuses in the description of the video, so they will not be covered in the guide itself, and you can get access to the dedicated spreadsheet by purchasing a tier 2 membership to the channel. As for the first part of this guide, I will go over it quite quickly because I made a dedicated video about the Civil War, so if needed you can check that out as well as the unedited version. In terms of buildings, we're going to build infrastructures in Delhi and in West Bengal. We are going to dedicate all of the 1 military factories we have available to infantry equip and all dockyards to convoys. When it comes to the army, we're going to select them and then we're going to disband all of them. For our occupation law, we're going to use harsh quotas and we're going to select armored divisions up here. And before we can consider the setup done, we're also going to create an agency. The agency is entirely optional. We're not going to use any of the operations, but spies can always be useful. We're going to keep Aden. And in principle, on events, we're always going to prioritize whatever reduces compliance. So disperse the crowd. We're going to select Victor Hope. And at 150 political power, we're going for the silent workhorse. At 100 political power, we are going to pick the army reformer expert. As soon as we get to 10 army experience, we're going to change our armored divisions to include only tanks. As soon as we complete this focus, we will unlock some new special decisions. These ones here that you can see on the map. We want to pick them in every single province except for Delhi, East Punjab, Bassar, and Arunachal. Sorry about the pronunciation. Now we don't have enough political power yet, so I usually start from the bottom and I pick them everywhere except for those 4 provinces. And each time you get to 20 political power, right away pick another one. From now on, whenever you get these events, always pick the decision that increases war support. So this one here, not this one here. Infantry equipment MIO, although later on we're also going to pick these perks as we unlock them. Now after completing this focus, our next focus priority is this one here, but you cannot pick it yet. You need to wait for a couple of days. Japan will declare war on China. There we go, right away, and that will increase our war support above 50%, which is what we need to pick this focus. Now when the focus is almost done, but not done yet, like 4 or 5 days before the end, we need to pick some other decision. So pause the game, and it is now time to pick this decision in every single province which is below 65% resistance. Now there is a bit of RNG to it, but usually this requires about 250 political power. So we should be left with a bit less than 50 to 100 political power, let's say. But look at us right now. Manpower, 0. Industry, non-existent. Production, non-existent. Army, non-existent. Yet, in a few days we will get a huge army by using these decisions. Okay, it looks good. It looks like I had a fairly good RNG because I picked the decision everywhere needed and we are left with a bit more than 100 political power. Maybe a bit less if you're unlucky. You know what, maybe I'll pick it in a couple more just to make it a bit more consistent. There we go. So we are now in a civil war And as you can see, we are in the perfect spot to win it, as we control already most of India. Now, the British Raj usually only controls the area here that we left, the area here that we left and that has no victory points, this area also without victory points, and then they usually spawn in another random area in one province. So in this case, it was this one here. So I covered the civil war in detail in the dedicated guide, but briefly, we get these new divisions here. So we're going to select all of them and create a new army with them. It will be a total of 12 divisions. And we're going to use these divisions, micromanage them a little bit, at least something like this, to completely take Sri Lanka here. And these ones, ideally, if we can hold this area, that would be great. These ones, if we can hold this area, it would be great. These ones we're going to ignore completely. Then, very important, we want to pick the 24 divisions, which are the closest to here. And we're going to assign them a front line here and an offensive line, which will be bugged, of course. Okay, now it's a total of 24, that's perfect. Now these 24, we're going to assign them to a marshal, and we're going to make Bose our marshal. We're going to promote him. He's actually pretty good. And then we're going to use our best general, which is this guy. Now here, since they have some divisions, we can maybe create another army and take care of this area. Now for this area here, we want about 10 divisions, so we can take some divisions maybe from down here. Let's see, okay, perfect, exactly 10. Let's send them here, prepare an offensive line here too. Can use our second best general for this army. Now for the remaining divisions, we want some of them, usually about half, but you can see the ones which are in this area, to cover with a full back line this front here. Now the important thing would be not to lose victory points. The only victory point in here is this one, so if we can hold it, that's better. The remaining ones, you can set them on area defense to protect from naval invasions. These really should not be needed, so in case you need them somewhere else, you can also use them somewhere else. Let's make sure to give this army the highest motorization priority and aggressively execute battle plans. This is the most important one. Let's give him the offensive doctrine. Now we also have quite a lot of army experience, which we're going to use for spirits. So we're going to pick political loyalty, tip of the spear, we're going to use it later, and the logistical focus. For buildings, we have this special modifier, which will expire soon, so we better use it to prioritize the repair of civilian factories above all. Let's do military and civilian first, but civilian have a higher priority. Now we're in a great spot, but the UK will join and Burma will join, so we do need to be very fast here. As soon as we are more or less in position, start the offensives. Most of the time they don't have divisions at all, so you can just push. In fact, if you check here, you can see that they have between 2 and 8 divisions. Well, we have 83. And you can use force attack, don't worry about anything, just try to be fast. It's our main priority here, is to take them down fast. And why are you guys doing nothing here? Well, both are going very smoothly. Amritsar is also down, and that should be it. The British Raj has capitulated, they just don't know yet. And that's very good news for us guys, because the UK could not join at all. And as they go down, we can offer them peace. The civil war is over, our war is over. We annex the British Raj, and not only that, we also get to keep all of this stuff here that we nicely stole from the UK. Look at that, that's amazing. Now, it's time to rebuild our industry. We have quite a long way ahead of us because despite being fairly big, having won the civil war and stolen stuff from the UK, we still have a very minor industry and we have a weird army. Not a small army anymore. Now actually we have a big army. But these are not the best divisions. The divisions we're using now are these Azad Hind Legion, which are pretty bad. So we will need to change something. Now, in terms of buildings, we're going to prioritize the repairs still. But after that, we want to build more civilian factories in Delhi and in West Bengal. We're going to make some changes to the army. First of all, we're going to use this template as our defensive template. So let's change the name to Def. And then we want about 48 divisions, which we are going to change into our def. Everything else, we're just going to disband. So our defensive template, we actually want it to be 12 with, so something like this. And that's perfect. Now we can split these into 2 perfect armies. We can give them to our amazing Bose. And for now, we can keep training these divisions. As soon as we complete this focus, we're going to pick war economy. And then as soon as possible, we're going to justify on Bhutan. We need just a little bit more political power. So right now we can. Now, as we justify on them, let's also get our spy and let's start spying on them. This is what we will be doing with the spy from now on. Whenever we attack somebody, we spy on them first. It's not needed, but it can help. Now for Bhutan, one army is enough, so we can move one army close to them and we can keep training them for now. Now, as soon as you complete this focus, we're going to do some other nice tricks here. Now what the focus does is it gives us a boost to civilian factory construction speed, depending on the amount of princely states we release. So we're going to release as many of them as possible to get the full boost, which is an insane 32% extra construction speed for civilian factories. Okay, so at this point, we want to release all of the occupied territories. We release them as puppets. So these ones here, here, here. Not Yemen, because that's a return territory. And then we want to release as puppets the Federation of South Arabia, the Khanate of Kalat, the Kingdom of Sikkim, Manipur, the Central Indian Princely States, Kashmir, Kuala Lumpur, this one here. Okay, and we are at 32%. So that's our goal. You release as many of them. Sometimes it's different. I don't know exactly why, but usually it is the ones I mentioned right now and the ones we released that you will find in the description of the video as well. And you will get to the full 32% permanent boost to civilian factory construction speed. It's a bit sad that it is for civilian factories. For military factories, it would have been amazing, but still not bad at all. Keep the army experience for now. We will need it later. And at 150 political power, we are going to pick the popular figurehead to boost our stability a bit, especially because we will be at war very soon. There we go, as soon as we get our claim. And by the way, guys, one thing that I forgot in the Civil War, luckily it wasn't needed, is we also got some planes, which can actually be very useful. They are not great, but they can be very useful both in the early expansion wars and in the Civil War to make it even faster. It was the fastest ever, so no need, but try not to forget about them. And as soon as you get the claim, in any case, you want to declare war on Bhutan, immediately trigger the offensive, and immediately start a justification on Nepal. The war will be over in no time, but very soon we will also complete our mountain infantry technology, and as you do that, you want to pick the first 3 special forces doctrine here. These ones. And we want to edit this Mountaineer Division template. Now it is free because of the doctrines we took. And we're going to make it a 16 with template, so 8 battalions. I'm going to call it Alp and I'm going to make it Elite. As we do that, we also want to recruit the max possible amount of them, which should be 8 divisions. Make sure that you pick the tip of the spear spirit, as without it you won't have the cap for that. As for Bhutan, we're going to puppet them with resource rights and war reparations. We can send our spy to Nepal and we can start preparing the army for Nepal as well. The main push must be in here, as the main victory point is in here. But we're going to use all of our divisions for this war. At 150 political power, we're going to pick the captain of industry. And we're going to force deploy and train our Alpini divisions. We can also move them in here, just in case we need a little help with the push. Now, whenever you get puppet divisions, always disband them. We now want our best general on the Alpini, as this will be our carry army. In terms of doctrines, we're going to prioritize the Mountaineers doctrines over regular ones, and we're going for hold the line, as we're not going to use line artillery in this run. Almost done with our claim, so as soon as we get it, war on Nepal, we're going to attack with everyone. The Mountaineers are not trained yet, but they can still give a hand, and we're going to immediately start a justification on Tibet. That's it. Nepal is down as well. We're going to puppet them with resource rights and war reparations as well. And we're going to get ready for Tibet. Tibet is a bit more annoying. So we need one army to push from here. They will push something like this. The other army will push in the south like this. And here we're going to start relying heavily on our Mountaineers, which will be trained by the time we attack. We're going to set them in here. We're going to rush the capital city. At 100 political power, we're going to pick the central bank concern. some more civilian factory construction speed. Like, literally at this point, there might be a chance that we are faster at building civilian factories and converting them to military factories than building military factories directly. It's so insane, the amount of buffs we have to construction of civilian factories. Yeah, look at the amount of modifiers. That's a 77% if I am not terrible at math like I am. It's a 77% buff to civilian factory construction speed. Insane. Yet, we're not going to use it for much longer because I still think it's better to build military factories directly than to convert them. So we're going to build infrastructures and then military factories in Sindh, Hyderabad and Bombay. So infrastructures first and then military factories in here. Here is the artillery MIO priority. At 100 political power, we're going to pick the infantry expert. There we go. Claim on Tibet, time for war. This is maybe the hardest of these wars. We will make it look easy again because mountaineers are insane. And of course, by the way, here, don't forget to also call these people into the war, otherwise we cannot attack them. So they have a lot of divisions here. I can see them, but we can go around. And the important thing is to take the victory points. There is one there and there is another one somewhere in here, I think. If we take the victory points, we're fine. That's it. Tibet is down as well. That's perfect. Puppet with resource rights and war reparations as usual. Let's confirm. And we already expanded a little bit. At 100 political power, we're going to pick army logistics. So I'm going to rename this template, which we already had, to Inf. This will be our standard infantry. And we're going to recruit 12 of them. Now, around this time, you should also be able to complete the Alpini doctrines, the Mountaineers doctrines we just did, and at that point, we can also train more Mountaineer divisions, a total of 4. We're going to change our production, and this is the new priority we're going to follow. So we want to start producing some of these other equipment types, and we're going to take all of the military factories for these equipment types from infantry equip. Oh no, is this the shit that gives me a billion perks for everything? Oh my god. No. Look at this. Look at this insane thing. Why? 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 It looks like a prank. It looks like a prank directly for me, since I hate MIOs. What's best? What's better than a focus that gives you 1 billion MIO perks for useless MIOs that you are never going to use? Can you look at this? Look at this. This is such a joke. What the fuck is this? God damn it. Some of them were useful, but... At 100 political power, we're going to pick improved worker conditions. And at 35 political power, we're going to start a justification on Iran. Now we're going to add some support companies to our Alpini divisions. All of them. The engineer, the support artillery, the support anti-air, and the rangers. Then later on, as soon as possible, we're also going to add the field hospital. But now we can save them, we're going to force deploy everything, and we're going to start training everyone. At 75 political power, we're going to pick radio propaganda. World War II time, but not for us. We'll also be doing some fun stuff pretty soon though. Now, as soon as you complete this focus, you will have some new special decisions. These decisions are pretty cool. We're going to pick this new decision everywhere, except for the Maldivian states and Burmese states. So we're going to start here. And what this does is it annexes and cores all of this stuff instantly. Look at that. That's pretty cool. You can do it here, and it's entirely free as well. And lastly, we're going to pick it in Afghanistan. In this case, we will not, of course, annex it for free, but it will give us the option to retake core state. So we are going to retake core state on them as soon as we finish the claim on Afghanistan, a few more days. From now on, you can keep building military factories in all of the most developed provinces. We're also going to make some changes to the production. Support equip goes up to 7, trucks at 3, trains at 2, and we take everything from infantry equip. We're going to do more than that though, because we're going to change all of our defensive divisions into infantry divisions. So we're going to increase their size. And we're also going to recruit another 12 infantry divisions. It is now also time to start getting ready for Iran. So we're going to bring our mountaineers in here. They will do the biggest push. And they will be supported by one infantry army. The second one will join a bit later, otherwise we'll struggle with the supplies. So they can stay back here. In the meantime, let's give them the highest motorization priority. But we need to keep training them, especially these guys, because they will get the new divisions. Okay, we got our claim on Iran. We're going to wait until everybody is trained, but in the meantime, we are going to get our claim on Afghanistan as well. We can now also pick the military theorist, and we can start picking the regular doctrines. Okay, everyone is ready. Let's go after Iran. This can be a fairly challenging war, especially the first phase in here. It's a bit of a tough push. Let's push with mountaineers only at first and see what happens. Push with infantry as well to make things a bit faster. Yeah, the mountaineers are already unstoppable. They're not even done yet. Now, the biggest issue in Iran is supplies. We are not attacking from a nice area, so we do struggle a lot with supplies in here. Let's make sure these guys push the cost of Iran. That's the trick. So you keep the infantry pushing everywhere, it's okay. But mountaineers should focus on the southern coast. Germany doing historical stuff for once. When we don't care, when we are on the other side of the world, they do historical stuff. You can see how the mountaineers pushing from the coast are amazing. And we also have the air superiority thanks to the planes we took from Japan. Those planes are very much worth the focus. Because most of our opponents don't have planes at all. We got our claim on Afghanistan. We're not exactly ready yet. Hopefully we'll be soon. Come on, Iran. It would be nice to go down now. Not yet. Good. Finally. Okay, Iran took a while to go down, but in the end, they are indeed down. Now, careful, you cannot puppet them because they will be attacked by the Soviet Union and the UK, so we don't want an Iran puppet. So what we can do instead is we can Balkanize whatever is not Iran, so these people here, and that's okay. And we need to annex what is Iran. Now, it should be a bit earlier than this, but at some point you should be able to take domestic film industry. We cannot yet, which means we are not considered a major yet for some reason. But okay, that's fine. Whenever you can, you should pick the domestic film industry. And in any case, whenever Iran is down, force deploy the infantry if it's not down yet, and then start recruiting another 24 infantry divisions. We now want to take down Afghanistan as fast as possible, but Afghanistan is a pain in the ass as well. So we need to prepare our mountaineers from here. This is the best path to attack them, and we can get to the capital at least. And then we're going to use the infantry from here. We want to do this faster, so everybody hurry the fuck up, please. Yeah, but use the trains, for fuck's sake. Okay, so apparently Afghanistan sometimes get guaranteed by British Burma. This is something completely new. It never happened in my previous test runs. But I think we may be able to take them anyway. So let's give it a try. Because I don't think British Burma can actually join them. Let's try. Let's give it a try. So these guys we need to call because we need to push from the entire front, and then we need to see what happens. Planes on the mountaineers as always, and let's go. Here, rush Kabul as fast as possible, but that's not enough. To take down Afghanistan, you need to take all of their victory points, including this one. It's incredibly annoying. They keep last standing and you keep fighting in the mountains. The good news is, however, it seems like British Burma does not join them, cannot join them, so it's totally fine. It's only British Burma that guarantees them, it's not the UK, so it should not be an issue. You learn something new, some new bugs about this game every time. That's amazing. Oh, we are finally considered a major, so we can pick domestic film industry. Let's go on and do that. Now, here the very important part is what the mountaineers can do. And it's very, very important that you use the mountaineers to push this area here. Otherwise, this is literally a nightmare. Completely out of supplies. The mountaineers are the only divisions fast enough to get there. And it looks like it might be fine. There we go. Afghanistan is down. Now we can annex Afghanistan since it is our core. So we're very happy to do that. Now at this point, we're going to force deploy these other infantry divisions, another full infantry army, and we're going to make some changes. After force deploying the infantry, we're going to increase the size of our infantry template to a total of 24 width. And after doing that, if we did everything correctly, it should also be possible to bring the mountaineers to a total of 25.2. There we go. Now we have a new priority in terms of buildings in the sense that we need to connect this hub here to the rest of the hubs, and this must be our highest priority. Now we also want to prepare our mountaineers at the border with China, because very soon we will need to carry on a very difficult push into China. So let's prepare them in there. Let's prepare one of our armies at the border with Xinjiang. They will be pushing in here. Another army will be at the border with Xibei. We also want generals, so let's promote someone to be the general for these armies. Give them the highest motorization priority, aggressively execute battle plans, and especially train everyone. At 150 political power, we're going to replace the silent workhorse with the well-mannered demon. Now what we're waiting for here is for our mountaineers to be fully trained. Alright, perfect. Now that they are trained, what we're going to do is we are going to join the Axis. Then we are going to start a justification on China. And we are going to make sure that everybody is ready to push into China. Now, Japan will have the majority of the war score. It doesn't matter. We just need enough war score to take this area here of China. That's the key point of our strategy. There we go. We got our claim on China. It's time for the next step in our strategy. And let's go after China. And if everything goes well in here, we should be able to push very, very easily. Don't forget that these Mountaineers divisions are amazing. Absolutely amazing. The infantry pushes are just to give us some more score. They are not supposed to really succeed. We just want a score. Probably obvious, but worth saying. We join the Axis, but we don't join the war against the Allies. We're not interested in that. We are actually not going to help them at all. Okay, we can now send another army in here to cover this front and to push even further. As soon as you get the anti-air, start producing it to factories. Take them from infantry equip. The push in China is going well. Don't forget that the priority is to push in here. And as soon as you take Kunming, you also want to connect the railways, because Kunming is a hub, but it is not currently connected. So we want to connect it. Okay, Yunnan has capitulated. That's going to help us. The goal is to reach these coasts down here. So let's try to do that. Alright, the last technology we unlocked was the field hospital. We should immediately add it to our Mountaineers template. And then you should check out the war support, and if combat casualties are very high, they're okay to be honest in this case, but you can pick Exhort Heroism. I'm going to do it anyway. We have the political power to do it. Casualties can get pretty high since we are pushing with just infantry everywhere. So painfully advanced to the coast. As soon as we take a harbor it will be much better, but for now supplies are basically non-existent. Now, everything that we control at the end of the war will be much cheaper in the peace conference, despite Japan having the majority of the score. So taking the coast here will be very nice, if we can. Would actually be nice if Japan did anything at this point, and just pushing a bit more would be nice, Japan. What are you doing there? Now, in terms of railways, we also need to connect the last few hubs here. So this one, and this one to this one. This thing is quite OP. Look at what it does. When you activate it, you get less heat attrition, you get less division attrition, supply grace for 240 hours, and remove the chance to get sick for your generals. I'll send the last army as well to cover this front. We have a big front against China. Okay, so we are going to use the Mountaineers to try and rush some of the victory points. Let's start from these ones and then go for the other ones. A bit annoying that after all of these we still only have 8%. It's absolutely not fair. We did most of the job. We can actually use this new special decision. This will help a lot with supplies as we push. So now the Mountaineers are properly unstoppable. You need to embrace this part of the run. You need to accept it. It's actually fun to push in low supplies areas when you have good Mountaineers. Let's put it that way. Look at us. Look at how we push the victory points even without supplies at all. Yeah, ooh. That's a lot of divisions, and those are Soviet divisions. Those are all Soviet divisions, so it's gonna be very difficult to push them. We can take the close air support Genius. By the way, one of the reasons we joined the Axis is we get a lot of discounts on technologies, so that's very, very convenient. Here is a bit of a messed up version of the MIO priority for planes, but we're very close, and yet very far. Because they have so many divisions in there, it's crazy. Somehow need to encircle them. We never get it. Oh! Good news, everyone, good news. Okay, China is finally down, and the good news is actually we got a fair amount of the score. It's not always this good, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the biggest priority here is to annex a path to this province here. So this one we absolutely need, and then we need a path that connects these to our mainland. So we need to keep going like this. It's enough to have a small path, it doesn't need to be big. Something like this is enough. Although we do need the railway, so we need this one too. Otherwise we don't have the railway. So we need this one too. And then it's also quite convenient, if you can afford it, to take this one here. Otherwise, we will struggle a lot with supplies. If you have some spare points, you can take a couple more. Maybe we can take this one here. And maybe we can take this one here. Now, Japan, for some reason, completely ignores this area. So this is also free to take. We can puppet these two provinces here and all of Xinjiang. As you can see, we had some spare points, but this is what we really need. The rest is not absolutely mandatory. And we can confirm. Alright, so it is December 1940. We are becoming quite powerful, but we are not quite there yet. So what is next, other than these horrible borders? Well, I'm sorry to tell you boys, but what's next is another war on China. We're not done yet with China. So the first thing we're going to do though is we're going to recruit 48 infantry divisions. Then we're going to occupy territories and we're going to release Yunnan. Here. Next, we're going to start a justification on Manchukuo. Now, since we are in the Axis, Germany and Italy will not help Japan, despite guaranteeing their independence. So that's the biggest part of our strategy, let's say, for now. Of course, China is a puppet of Japan, so the moment we declare war on Manchukuo, we'll be at war with Japan and all of their puppets, which means we will need to take down China again, but it will be easier this time. Alright, so first of all, we're going to use our mountaineers to carry on most of the pushes, and the push must be always along the coast of China. This is where the supply hubs are, and this is where we want to be with our mountaineers. We can prepare them in here, and we can give them an offensive command like this one, something like this, it's fine. They will be the only people with the offensive marshal, so with Bose. Everybody else will be with a different marshal. The second marshal with all of the infantry armies will be on a marshal line along the entire border of China, and that's quite a huge border, but it doesn't matter. Something like this, it's fine. We can give them an offensive line like this, and it's gonna be good. Let's make sure that he also has the highest motorization priority and that everyone in there is training. Now, as soon as possible, we want to force deploy these divisions and we want to recruit another 4 Alpini divisions. Now, this means we will get another 2 armies out of here eventually when we force deploy everyone. These armies, for now, we can simply train. Later on, we can use them to protect the coastline from naval invasions as we advance into China. And we may also need them to protect this border here and British Burma if they fall to Siam when Vichy France gets given to Japan. Yeah, another thing we may need to do is, for a bit, we need to split off some mountaineers to quickly take care of this region here. Nothing too difficult, but yeah, we need to take care of it. Also, always make sure that your hubs are connected by railways. It's by far the most important thing here. And our biggest priority in terms of buildings as well. Okay, we got our claim on Manchukuo. It means it is time for our war on Japan. Now, if you consider that Azad Hind was related to Japan, it makes sense that India Unchained is about Azad Hind defeating their masters and taking down China and Japan. Okay, these guys are still training, but if you see any parts of the front in which you're struggling a little bit, you can send them. Nice. Now that we are done with this place, we can gather back all mountaineers together. Around this point, I usually pick another Exhort Heroism to keep the war support up. It depends. It always depends a bit on the casualties. They're not very high right now, but it's a big front to manage, but it is also a big front for the Japanese. And, well, we have the mountaineers. They don't have these mountaineers. The template we're using at the moment is this one, in case you're curious, and it is absolutely crazy. Not so much for the total soft attack. Of course, you can get more soft attack when you use tanks or artillery. But the amazing thing here is the combat width is perfect for the mountains, and the supply use is very, very low. So this template is absolutely amazing in low supply areas. In addition to the decent soft attack, you also get some very nice modifiers, of course, especially in the mountains with this plus 55% attack and plus 25% attack in the hills. There are a lot of mountains and hills in here, so this template just becomes unstoppable. Let's force deploy the last divisions as well. I'll send the mountaineers even though they are not trained. Same thing for these guys actually. But guys, do not forget to connect the hubs in here because they are never connected, as you can see. And the convoys are being raided by the Japanese, so going by land is much, much better. Of course, as soon as you get the engines, it is time to design and produce our usual F2. Make sure to auto-upgrade it. We don't have enough air experience. Why don't we have enough air experience? Because I didn't take the ground support expert. When didn't I take the ground support? Yeah, okay, boys. So it looks like I made a small mistake, and it makes sense. Instead of taking the close air support genius, we should have taken the ground support expert. And at this point, we would have the air experience that we require. No big deal. We will take it in a bit and have it slightly later. It's fine. 100 political power. Let's pick the ground support. And with this doctrine perk, we also unlock breakthrough, which is the best offensive tactic. So make sure to pick it on whoever can pick it. Yeah, okay, we need to pay attention to naval invasions. We have these armies here for this specific purpose. So when there is a naval invasion, you move them from this border and you protect from the naval invasion. Invasions are not necessarily a bad thing. They're actually good for destroying some of their divisions. If you feel like it's needed, you can send back some mountaineers. Like in this case, it looks like we cannot easily push away these naval invasions. So I'll send mountaineers to take care of it. Not all of them though. But at least we got the air experience required for the F2. So we can finally make it. Now we are going to adjust the production a little bit here. So we're going to bring the production of support equip to 10, artillery and anti-air to 5. The infantry equip will be at 30, and everything else goes into the F2 design. So this is a new production priority. And guys, as you can see, we keep pushing along the coastline. Now, in terms of air experience, don't use it for doctrines. We need to save it. Yeah, this is the amazing spearheads bug. Perfect. Usual. Oh, that was the harbor. Now you're in big trouble here. Finally time to end this naval invasion. Well, in the end, I did lose a bit of divisions. Once you reach this area, you keep pushing, and this time the idea is to get maybe the biggest encirclement ever in the game. So we encircle China, basically. Yeah, another naval invasion ending quite badly for the Japanese. Okay, as soon as you get the transport plane, you want to start producing them right away. We're actually going to dedicate 10 factories to them, and we're going to take them from the F2 design. We're also going to do something a bit crazy here. We're going to our infantry template, and we're going to add the engineer company, the support anti-air, the support artillery, and the rangers to this template. We're going to save it, and we're going to wait for a bit, but as soon as they get the equipment, we'll consider pushing with them. Japan is burning a lot of their divisions with these naval invasions. Now, sometimes at this point I start training them, so they get the new equipment and they get fully trained. It's a bit risky though, because the Japanese may push you at that point. It depends a bit on the situation. Okay, I would say that these guys are pretty much trained. So let's stop training them and let's just push with everybody. This will destroy the manpower. That's okay. It will speed up things significantly though. But we can also call these people into the war. Usually Japan declares war on them. So they are usually in the war. If they are not, we can call them. I would tell you to rush victory points. The problem is that there are no victory points. So it's a bit difficult to rush them. So the only ones that are in there probably are these ones. So we can move the mountaineers down here and help the push here. Which is also the tougher part probably. I even see some green air. The miracle. Yeah, we cannot deploy it because we don't have the manpower. But I think we should be there with China. Yeah, 5%. What a pain in the ass. But yeah, China is down. Not that it changes much because everything left in here is basically Japanese units, which are getting completely obliterated. Okay, the regular army can probably take care of these. So it's time to move the mountaineers in here and plan a push for Korea. Oh, they had 14 divisions in there. I saw them just for a second, but the army of Japan is slowly disappearing. And not even that slowly, actually. And we probably need to speed it up a bit on this side. Especially what we need is to take the harbor, which is just there. It's open. Nobody's defending it, but we're not taking it. Because we like being without supplies. That's the dark truth of my mountaineers. They are so specialized in no supply areas that they love being without supplies. We can finally solve our manpower issues as soon as you get enough political power. You need 312 to pick limited conscription. But it's going to be worth it. It's a lot of manpower coming our way. Of course, after you're done with China, you take care of Manchukuo, but especially you want the mountaineers to rush Korea, because Korea is where we will start our invasion of Japan. And as soon as you get the paratroopers, or as soon as you get the political power after the paratroopers, you want to diversify elite forces, because we need to make some paratroopers. So now we're going to use some of this area experience that we have been saving to pick the paratroopers doctrines as much as possible. You should have a bit more than I did actually here. We're going to bring our infantry template to 15 divisions, a 15-0 for a total combat width of 30. So we can change them. And that means we can design our paratroopers and we can change them a little bit. Now, this is not entirely needed, but I like to have them 10 combat width. You can keep them smaller too, because the Japanese will not be able to contest them anyway. We're also going to add all of the support companies, those ones we can afford, including the Rangers and the Field Hospital for a total of 50 army experience. We're going to make them elite, and we're going to recruit 10 of them. Now, as you take Korea, you want to build infrastructures and you want to build air bases in Korea as well as in this province here. Now, what is important at this point is that we take all of our planes and we send them to Korea. We start engaging the Japanese in here, ideally. Soon we will get the air bases, so the space for planes will be enough. We actually want to force deploy our paratroopers as soon as possible. We're going to gather them together with the mountaineers. We're going to send them to this airfield here. We're going to start training them and we're going to give them the second best general we have available. Oh, nice. Manchukuo went down. I didn't even notice. Okay, so now only Japan is left. Ooh, big mistake that I did not notice. Oh, guys, you need to change this, of course. Yeah, at some point of the run, early in the run, you don't want to be on harsh quarters anymore, of course. You want to switch back to local police force, and you want to switch back to cavalry. Wow, this was massive. This was a huge deficit for us. Well, it's amazing that we still managed to do everything as planned, but that's why we had a bit less manpower than normal. Let me see if I didn't read it, or I didn't write it, which would be more serious. Yeah, no, I didn't read it. And I didn't do it in the guide, but I did write it in the spreadsheet. So my mistake. Okay, we can gather all planes in here. Now the Japanese are not contesting us in here. So I'm assuming they are in the mainland. No, we actually can get green air. This is amazing. So yeah, we're not going to do it just yet because the Japanese do move their air force in there after a while. As soon as these guys are trained, not fully trained, we're going to use the usual trick with paratroopers. The trick is this, we stop training them first of all, then we give them the paratrooper order, and we can go with groups of 2, but the only thing we really care about is taking Nagasaki. So take the entire area around Nagasaki, so that if even just one of them is able to get down, then you can take the harbor. As soon as you take the harbor, you send the mountaineers and it's basically over. So let's make sure they get their organization back. And by the way, at this point, let's pick one last exhort heroism, since we have a terrible combat casualties maluses. And then we're going to set our planes to Japan and see if we get green air. We do. If we get green air, well, that's easy. You just trigger them. If you don't get green air, the trick is you keep switching provinces. So you right click here, then you right click here, 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 while unpausing the game. And eventually you will trigger the paratroopers. That always works. Okay, they actually do have somebody in Nagasaki, but that's not going to be enough to save them. Nagasaki is taken, meaning our mountaineers can now go. Yeah, see, they would have some planes. They would have had yellow air. So that's very important to do it quickly or to keep switching provinces until you get green air. Unless you want to do it more fairly. In that case, you just leave your planes in here. Our planes are better, so eventually you would get green air anyway. But it would probably take a while. That's a bit late, Japan. That's a bit late. Good attempt. Tokyo is down, boys. Japan is down, and we get 89% of the score, which means we can basically do whatever we want with it. So what I usually do at this point is I just puppet everything, starting with China and then Japan. Nobody has the points to contest us, so we can take everything we want. Now for the Navy we need about 2,500 points, so we can also take the resource rights and the war reparations. Though remember that you do want to have those points for the Navy, so make sure you have enough. 2,800 is enough. We can take the entire Japanese Navy. We're very happy with that. The Navy is the priority. So let's confirm. It is July 1942, Japan is down, and we did something amazing with India. In 1937 we had 8 factories and nothing at all. And now we have absolutely amazing stability, amazing war support, huge manpower, and finally a good industry. But more importantly, we got a navy. We got the entire Japanese Navy. And with the Japanese Navy, we can do anything we want at this point. We actually are already in the Axis, so if we wanted to help Germany, we could simply send a fleet here and naval invade the UK easily from here. We can also help them against the Soviet Union, of course. Or we can betray the Axis, which is one of my favorite things. Leave them and help the Soviet Union against them, or just fight them on our own. We can also navally invade the United States with the fleet we have, because the Japanese fleet is actually very good, and it is full of carriers which are great for naval supremacy. We got an amazing army, and especially we got these fantastic Mountaineers divisions. Later on, if we get enough cap, and maybe by disbanding the paratroopers that we don't need anymore, we can aim at bringing these divisions to the very meta 32.4 combat width, and then they will be just unstoppable. So guys, we got to the end of this run, and it was a tough one. It was a tough one to work on. You cannot imagine how many times I tried this run. I tested it in the early access, then I messed it up, then I tried it again and again and again, and finally we got this strategy down, and this strategy is amazing. It's a tough run, it's challenging to fight in China without supplies, but the final outcome is very gratifying, so I really think you should give it a try. Even if you do not have the DLC or you cannot play, you don't want to play as India, you must absolutely try the Mountaineer template I showed you in this run, because it works amazingly in all low supply terrains. Now, this run killed China, killed Japan, killed me. I'm dead. I'm so tired. So I definitely need to take a break, and then I have quite a lot of editing to do because this was also a long video. And so as always, even more than always, if you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and leaving me a comment. Your support is always amazing, guys, so thank you so much for staying with me. Thank you all for watching. And I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye bye!